Good morning, good evening, Tottenham fans around the world. During this period of the transfer deadline and the window, every morning I wake up like a kid, not a Chris, it could be a Chris, wake up like a Chris or a kid on Christmas Day wondering what surprises await me. Who have we gone and signed today? And as you know, on Grumpy Old Spurs, we do have the transfer smorgasbord. And I've woken up this morning to find out that someone's been at our transfer smorgasbord and stolen the Eze. He's gone. He's not there next to the crudités anymore. He's gone. And so the news is, of course, is that our good friends, the Woolwich Wanderers from over the rivers, have done this thing where they've identified a target, they've moved in quickly, and it looks like a deal is going to happen in a matter of hours. Don't know if any other club operates like this. This is ground-breaking stuff, breaking or even baking stuff by the Woolwich Wanderers. Yes, of course, Eze is going to sign for Arsenal. Arsenal apparently have been moved into action due to the knee injury suffered by Havertz, I believe, which means he's going to be out for some weeks, which has prompted the club to move quickly and adroitly into a situation where they buy a player in order to fulfill a gap in the squad and to improve the playing quality on the pitch. These are concepts that, as we know as Spurs fans, that doesn't happen. And so why is it the case that we're left in this situation once again? Why is it the case that we take weeks and weeks? We've been talking to Palace for about a week, negotiating the deal, negotiating the add-ons, how much we're going to pay up front, and yet all the while, the longer that you let a deal happen, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm letting you into a commercial secret, the chances are a rival bid, gazumping could happen, just like maybe in a property deal, which, as we know, our ownership is so good at doing. And so where are we left with now? As you may remember, 4 to 5 weeks ago, we had the whole Morgan Gibbs-White's farrago, where we had a James Maddison fit. So Gibbs-White was going to come in and compete against Maddison for place as a number 10, and then you had Kulusevski coming back when. Now we're in a situation where there's no Morgan Gibbs-White. Maddison is out pretty much for the season, and we're left in the transfer window yet again late in the day, filling a gap in the squad reactively, where we should have proactively got Morgan Gibbs-White if we could have done. But no, where we are left in the situation is that everyone knows at this time of the window who wants to sell to us, because at the end of the day, the season started, and if you're going to sell to a player that we want, the selling club will need to fill that gap, which apparently is what Palace are doing with this player from Leicester, which, probably knowing us, will go and gazump Palace and get the Leicester player in, who is not an Eze, but it will be Levy doing Steve Parish over. Well done, Levy. What a great businessman that you are. So selling clubs know we're desperate. Selling clubs know that they need to buy someone at this late stage in the window, and it leaves us in the usual position that we are always in. So what we've been told about Daniel Levy, and if you remember the great Holmes and Under the Hammer interview that he did with Gary Neville recently for the Overlap, where he proudly showed off the stadium 6 years after it was built, over budget and late, and of course he got a bonus for. He said that he doesn't get involved in the transfers anymore. It's not up to him anymore around that. But he does come in at the end once the player is identified, and he gets the best deal possible for the club. So apparently Steve Parish, who apparently is not an easy person to deal with, well, I think most people who've made millions and billions of pounds over the years may not be seen to be the most easiest person to deal with. That's why they've made that money. He apparently hates Levy and hates dealing with Levy. And of course, the famous quote from Fergie, who said he'd rather get a hip replacement than deal with Daniel Levy after the Berbatov transfer. That's, remember, Daniel doing the best deal possible for the club when he sells Berbatov at the last minute to Manchester United, and we get Fraser Campbell in loan. So that's another great deal for the club that he did. So the reality of the situation is, the last time I checked, I think, are there 20 or 18 clubs in the Premier League? And if everyone hates dealing with Levy, or Paris hates dealing with Levy, Chelsea don't like dealing with Levy because the whole Frank Arneson thing from 1874, there's not many clubs you're going to be left to deal with. And so, and I hate to say this, Sometimes the art of the negotiation is where both parties walk away from the deal feeling like they've won something. I know. Shocking revelations from a Sydney morning for you. So that's where we are at the moment. We don't have Eze, we don't have Morgan Gibbs White, and I compare and contrast to the. Do you remember we won this trophy called the Europa League Cup final? We won that back in May. We got into the Champions League via the backest doors since the back of the wardrobe in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and we're all off to see Aslan in the Champions League. Where are we now? We've got Palhinha, apologies if I haven't pronounced that right, on loan. We've got Kudos, who had a great first season at West Ham. The West Ham fans thought he was rubbish in the second season, but mitigating circumstances, he was playing under Lopetegui and Graham Potter, whom some people on this channel wanted as the Tottenham manager, not really. So at the end of the day, we're now left in a situation where we have possibly even a weaker squad than last season, which was pretty weak anyway. We're playing a higher standard of European competition in the Champions League, and we have to fulfill our Premier League obligations as well. So, Daniel, as you said, you sacked Ange because you wanted to compete on all four fronts, despite the fact you left Ange with a very weakened squad. So, what are you going to do now? Anyway, lads, Tottenham is back on Friday with some of the regulars. Grumpy old Spurs, our good friend Grumpy over there, is back on next week as well. And let's not forget the views that I've said in this video, which is just me and Grumpy and then maybe Don Corleone. They're my own views and they're nobody else's. I hope that the consenting adults could have worked that out. Anyway, enough from me. I've got to get on with the day from shouting at a blank screen at Levy once more. So all that's left for me to say is, come on, you Spurs.